Just got back from vacay. A little bit of rain. As you can tell, we've had lots of rain. Grass is overgrown. Check what the dogs have done. Why they can't just run in this muddy flower bed. You have to actually trample the grass until death. I don't know, but yeah, as you can tell, we're full house lawn wise. I need to redo these beds. Another funny little thing, or besides, just like a look at that, a little observation besides all of this nonsense and the growth of the grass, is that this main section hasn't grown that much. We've been gone, I think now it's been about 3 and a bit weeks, maybe a bit longer than that, since the last mow. So let's round it up to a month. It's about yay high. I think it's probably sitting at about 50 to 70 mils at the moment. But you notice the bottom under the tree and that little hole that I filled up there where I pulled up the tree, those areas are long. They're like 150, 200 mils long, not this section here. So the grass definitely has been better trained here and not trained there and there at all. Anyway, we'll give this a mow on another day. Goeiemorgen mense. Alright, it's the week after I got back from holiday. That first little clip that I'll put in the beginning, or have put in the beginning of this video, is just when I got back. That was last Sunday afternoon, after driving 8 hours, and the previous day was another 12 hours. I was like a moeg in that clip. You can hear it quite clearly. Now I'm a bit nasally and sick. And yeah, anyway, time to mow the lawn. I did have a garden service come in on Wednesday with their professional mowers and just give it a trim at the lowest height that they could do, which is, as far as I'm aware, and the specs online says that they should be able to get down to about 20 mils. This is what normal rotary mowing using a professional looks like on my lawn after having let it grow out for about 3.5 weeks during the December vacay, between mows, I mean, not me taking leave for that long. And yeah, you can clearly tell how the rotaries look versus cylinder mowers, etc, etc. But anyway, at the assumed 20 mils, there's a lot that's missed. You can tell there's like patches, might just be where the dogs are peeing, but like some parts are lower than other parts, and this is not a really good mow. This is like single pass, half-assed. If the lawnmower started gliding, I think the guy just went. So yeah, I'm going to pull out Frankenstein, or have pulled out Frankenstein. Still set to the 18 mils that I had it at before I went on vacation, and I'm going to mow now repeatedly until I get down to the 18 mil. Then tomorrow, maybe tomorrow, probably next weekend, depending on how I feel with the sinus and all that stuff, I will take it down to about 8 mil. And the reason is that I want to maintain a height of cut of around 15, 16 mils. And remember, your baseline rule that I can give you when scalping your Kikuyu or Bermuda, in South Africa we call that kweek, in Australia you call it cooch. I've made enough jokes about that, is that you should be taking it down to about half of the height of cut that you want it to be, at length. So if you want a 15 mil general height of cut, you want your lawn to be at 15 mils for that specific look that you're after, you should be scalping down to around 7 or 8 mils, so about half of what you want it to be. Then that way, when the grass grows back in, you've got lots of green coverage under that height of cut. That's it. I think it's enough chit-chat. I'm going to mow. It will be more than one pass. I will put Frankenstein under a bit of pressure. And thanks, Marlo. Yeah, let's just get to it. So single pass for the most part. I've did a bit of colouring in around the edges and stuff like that, but single pass over the majority of the area. I took out many bins, which is something that I haven't felt for ages. I've always been taking off, well, I've only been taking off very little with each of the previous mows lately, the last few months. I'm tired. I'm going to go take a water break, maybe a coffee break, and then I am going to reset Frankenstein's height of cut down to maybe 12 mils, currently at 18. So yeah, let's say 12 mil, because I feel like when I go over the areas that were already mowed, that I'm still taking something off, but I feel like I need to be just a bit more aggressive for today's session. At least don't be too lazy. Remember, when you mow once, the grass has been pushed flat to some extent. You're trimming some of the area, but straight after you've gone over it, a couple of minutes later, the grass kind of perks back up. And if you go over your lawn again, you take off a bit more lawn and repeat it and repeat it. So you can leave the height of cut at the same place, repeatedly mow, and you get a much cleaner cut. Just as a matter of interest on that, you can tell that I mowed down here, but it was more just to get the sort of heavy Frankenstein rollers onto it. The front and rear ones are bloody heavy. But you can tell I've missed a lot, and that is typical of tall grass and cylinder mowers. Real mowers can't mow tall grass unless you're only taking off a little bit, and even in most circumstances I don't recommend it for anything above sort of 40 or 50 mils unless it's been adapted in some way to suit it, or maybe it doesn't have a heavy front roller at least. But just rolling over this lawn now, you can tell I've got some areas like there, complete scalp. I actually pulled sand into the mower, so I've probably buggered up my blade a little bit. And then the rest of it is long. So from the side, and there's Trav's hand, you can tell that's too long. So what I'll do is just bring the rotary out as well once I've had my water break and readjusted Frankenstein, and we'll go over that again with the rotary. Maybe also that little middle section also needs a bit of a redo again as well. This is how this looks. So for the most part, it's completely grown in. You can tell it's young because the grass blades are longer and fatter, whereas this is like a tighter, denser look, because for years and years and years that got a nice clean mow regularly, multiple times a week. And this is brand spanking new grass, which needs some time to mature. Anyway, water break. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, round two. We're just gonna mow that little section over there. It was a little bit longer than a coffee break. Ended up making the kids some snacks and stuff, but whatever. We'll just mow in the midday heat. It's like a sauna today. Okay, now Frankenstein's been set up for 12 millimeters, so we'll mow the rest of the lawn now. That, let's see, maybe I'll go over it multiple times. Maybe this one pass or the next pass will be good enough, but we'll soon find out. Let's do that quick. Actually, before we do that, I will probably not mow the bottom of the yard, the under the tree section over there at 12 mil, because there still is a bit of debris from after removing that big tree and all the lumps and bumps and stuff. It's not yet ready for a cylinder mower to be taken that low in that area yet. So I'll do the top part, the main section at 12, and then the rest we'll just catch up over time after a few more top dresses down there. Okay, so that's where we're at after a 12 mil single pass basically. What I found is that the grass is a little bit wet. We've had quite a bit of rain lately, and even though the surface was dry now this morning when I started mowing, it's very damp down in the thatch layer. So I'm going to have to let that dry out so that that thatchy portion can perk its head back up again, and then I'll nail it tomorrow. But just some general observations is that the areas that are filled up, that drain line that I filled up nice and deep over the last couple of years, each time I'm now almost perfectly smooth over that area, but that grass has had to grow through so much that it's almost like those little new patches, so immature grass, and that grows like a fatter, more lush looking kikuyu. The problem is that they obviously scalp much harder, so you see the ugliness, the thatchiness come through much more quickly. So you can tell here I'm at about maybe 12 to 15 mils. It's not very tall, but there's a lot of thatch there just because of my general 18, 20, 25 mil mowing, up until towards the end of last year. That's a bit of a pain in the backside. So I don't think I'm going to do this tall mow thing anymore. I'd rather just stick to 12 to 15 max. I think I'm going to go back to 12. No, I'm just going to go back to 12. So we're going to reset. Maybe I'll go down to 8 mil over the next couple of weeks, just to try and minimize how much of this junk I end up having to deal with later on. I'm not sure if this is what's helped me keep moisture and keep my lawn looking relatively good versus many guys this year. I don't know if you're one of them, but I've got a good few guys that have reported to me let's say, new viewers who send me emails, lots of guys that have all of a sudden ended up with big nonsense this year. And I think it's because, in particular up here in the Haarveld, we had very little rain and terrible heat, and then poof, all of a sudden a ton of rain and still a lot of heat. So it's disease and it's insects and all sorts of random weird problems and overgrowth, and you're not maintaining and but yeah, there it is. Ugly looking, yellowish, muff looking effect with kikuyu thatch. And funny enough, the Bermuda over here, you can tell the kikuyu growing over the Bermuda, and down there, that brownish patch, it's also Bermuda. Kikuyu, green, Bermuda. In the middle of summer, its thatch is like a bone dry clipping vibe going on there. You can tell there's green on top of it, like that. I don't know if you can tell it very clearly in the video, but the thatch itself is like brown, woody stuff, versus this, which is, okay, this is obviously that tree hole, yellowish looking moist stuff. Okay, so I'm going to can the video at that. We'll call this a post-vacation scalp video part 1. And yeah, we'll catch up with the rest later on. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.